One thing I noticed a lot of artists have been saying online and just in general is that they're not getting any love in their hometown. They'll say, man, I dropped this record and, I don't know why they rocking with me. My hometown don't rock with me. I got people over in Africa checking for it, but I ain't getting no love here. And, I get it. I get it because I've been there as well in my lane. There's been times where I've been, I've pursued certain things. As a manager, as someone that, A&R the project and executive produced the project. And, I put it out there and sometimes people didn't show a lot of love to it. Hey, that happens. Okay. Like even now, I get more love outside of my hometown as well. When I say hometown, let me put it like this. I get more love outside of my place of residence or my state of residence. That's just why that is. I haven't figured it out yet. I see a lot of people will say it's because they're too close to you or because they know you, they don't see you, they see you differently and, all that other stuff. And I get it, right? I totally get it. I understand. But here's the thing. I can take that, right? And this is why I invest so much into my online platforms and social media. So that way I can deliver content to people that's rocking with it. I don't get hung up or bent out of shape out of the people down the street not rocking with stuff. And this is what I want you guys to really understand and get is not to beg someone around you to see your worth or your value or to be entertained by you. You need to go where you are celebrated. Okay? Like that saying, don't go where you're tolerated, go where you're celebrated. It's the same thing. You guys have to quiet your ego. Like it's serious. Quiet your ego and go where you're celebrated. This is why, like I said, this is why I'm heavily invested in love social media in that regard. Like there's some cons and some bad things about social media I absolutely hate. But the good thing is that you're able to build and find your tribe online. And like I said, sometimes, you may have to change your environment. You just may have to, especially in the creative industry. Because not all states have a strong industry for creatives. Depending on what your goal is, you may have to move to LA or New York or an Atlanta, depending on what it is. If you're in tech, you may have to move to San Francisco or even Texas. I heard Texas, actually, it's either Dallas or Austin, one of the two. I heard that they have a really good tech community. Okay, you may have to relocate to those states to tap into that industry if you want to grow. It just is what it is. One of the reasons why I relocated from Michigan was to get more opportunities while staying close to home. Honestly, I wish I moved a little further, but I don't regret it so much because I realized that I love my home and my family, right? I love my people. So I'm able to get home in a day or less than a day if I need to, right? So I even had to relocate. Like when I was back home in Michigan, I was freelancing, but BASSLINE Group, that didn't start until I relocated to Illinois. I've always worked in music and did something in music, showed an interest in music back when I was in high school, but I didn't start a business until I moved to Illinois. So sometimes you have to relocate in order to grow because that's just a part of your growth, and it can be emotionally hard. Okay. It can. I've had some very tough moments, some very down, deep, dark, depressing moments when I relocated and after I relocated. But at the end of the day, it was worth it because I grew. Okay. If it don't kill you, it's going to make you stronger. That is so real. That saying is so real. And if I was to move again, I would certainly do things differently. There are some things that I should have done that I didn't do. But I see it now. And I know if I was to relocate again, there's a couple things that I would do differently. So that's what I want to share with you guys today. If I was to relocate, here's what I would do and here's how I would go about it. All right. The first thing is that I would connect with people at that new location online. So let's say I wanted to relocate to Atlanta. I personally would start connecting with people there, whether I know them in person, because I do know a couple people in Atlanta. But I would love to know more and build relationships, or I wouldn't even say a relationship, but build a rapport with more people in Atlanta. I would do that. I didn't do that when I moved to Chicago. I just up jumped and moved because of the job that I had at the time. So looking back, if I was to do it again, I would start connecting with people that are there and start building a rapport with them. Okay. Couple of ways that you can do that, because I know it's hard meeting people. It's hard meeting people offline. So I know it's hard doing it online. I would start running ads targeting that location. So with what I do, my post, I could start running ads and make, Atlanta my target audience or my target location. I pick my audience based on the interest and run ads there, just so so that way they become familiar. They become aware of my brand and who I am. I've met quite a few different people that way. There's people following me from Atlanta now that reach out to me just from doing stuff like that. I would also post and engage more in Facebook groups or other community forums that has people from that area there. That's a good way to just, learn more about the community there. It's also a good way to just ask questions like, what is it like living there? What area do you stay in? What area would you recommend, for this and that? What area should I stay away from? It's really good to just get feedback from people that are there, and you can do that easily in Facebook groups as well as other community forums. Also, another way to connect with people is to watch YouTube videos. Like, people sleep on this. Watch YouTube videos on those cities. There's a lot of people online that vlog about their city. I know one guy that goes to all the hoods in all these different cities. He go through the hood here in Chicago. He's been through the hood in Detroit. I've seen him do videos out in LA where the gangs be at. Like, that's his content on YouTube. And I find it interesting because we always see the good of a city, but sometimes I want to see the bad. I don't want to experience it. Let me say that. I don't want to experience it, but I wouldn't mind seeing the bad, okay? Just to see what's going on, because we think a certain city is so bad, like Chicago's always in the news all the time, but there are other cities that have just as bad or just worse, crime and that whole negative connotation. Like, some cities are worse than Chicago, but the media don't tell you that. So watching his content is really cool to see from that regard. Okay. But yeah, watch YouTube videos on that city. So that way you can see the good, bad, and the ugly. And then sometimes you can, in the comments, there's quite a few different dialogues that can happen in those comments. So certainly do that. Yeah, so like I said, the first thing is to connect with people online that's currently in that city that you're thinking of relocating to. The second thing is to test it out first. Test the city out. Visit and try to stay for at least 2 weeks if you can, okay? But here's the thing. Don't be a tourist. When you're there for 2 weeks, don't live like a tourist. Live like a local. Get you an Airbnb and live like you would if you live there. Go to the grocery store, grab a bite to eat somewhere, go to the coffee shop, experience the nightlife if they have one, but go there and live like a local for those 2 weeks. That's something that I did not do when I moved here. I didn't do that. I'm gonna just leave it as that. I did not do that. I wished I did. I wished I, tested things out. What I did do was I came for, how long was, I came, before I moved, I came for a weekend. So like 2 to 3 days. I remember coming here. I stayed in a Motel 6 out in Schaumburg, Illinois. And I saw the new location, the new job location, and I drove around looking for an apartment, that I researched first online, and I spent the day driving around. And there was a day where I spent going through the city as a tourist. But yeah, I came for a weekend just to find a place. But yeah, if I was to do it again, I would definitely go there and stay for 2 weeks just to feel the vibe as if I lived there. And then while you're there during those 2 weeks, connect with the people that you met online. Make sure it's public places first, though. Make sure you meet these folks at public places because you want to be safe. You want to be cautious. So definitely try to connect with them at coffee shops, a bookstore, something. Just make sure it's public and that you're safe. And try not to go alone. If you're staying there for 2 weeks, I would take someone with you just to be safe. Safety first, because people can be crazy and you just want to cover yourself. Okay. And then last but not least, make sure you save. So that way you can have some money before you move. You could do this by building, some income remotely, doing stuff online, social media management for people, or you can try to land a job there. That's what I had. I had a job. I moved for a job and they offered a relocation package that I had to, you got to stay for so long or you had to pay it back. I ended up leaving early, and yeah, that's a whole nother story. But make sure you have some money before you move, because moving is costly. Relocating isn't cheap unless you're going out there with nothing and you're living with someone starting out. But there are expenses such as finding an apartment. When you find an apartment, just like anywhere, you got to have a deposit and first and last month rent. Think about vehicle registration. You have to register your vehicle in that state, get your tags and whatnot. You got to have a new state ID or driver's license. And then moving cost. Okay, if you have stuff that you're relocating with, you would either have to rent a U-Haul and you and your friends do it, or you hire movers. I personally would hire movers. That's what I did that time. And that was such a beautiful experience. I don't want to relocate or move anywhere else unless I had some movers packing up and moving my stuff. Like, that was such, like, I don't want to rent a U-Haul ever again. That was the first time when I relocated here. That was the very first time I hired professional movers to move my stuff from Michigan to Illinois. And it was such a beautiful experience. I would say for that, such like a relief. Okay, not to worry about who I'm gonna have pick up stuff. Make sure they put it together. Like, I had a king size bed at the time. They literally broke my bed down, moved it, and then put it back together. Like, oh my God, that little stuff like that is so worth the money. Okay, so like I said, there are expenses. So when it comes to you guys, like I said, if you're not getting any love at home, you may have to relocate. Just make sure you do your research, connect with people online first, test it out, spend some time there, and then save your money somehow, because you're going to need it when you move. So with that being said, let us know in the comments, are you considering moving? If you are, let us know where you're thinking about, because you never know. There may be someone in this community who's already there and that could, guide you around the city or give you some more information. So let us know in the comments if you're considering moving, where would you like to move to, where you're from now, and yeah, let's talk about it. Peace.